Welcome to Thousand Proof, a happy hour marketing podcast where we give you a pint size of marketing knowledge in 15 minutes or less. Today we are in Guild Designs just down the road from us, and I'm Zach. I am one of the co-founders and head of growth at Thousand Lumens. I am joined today by...
I'm Madison. I'm the head of marketing at Thousand Lumens and the social media manager.
And I'm Kit Kiefer. I own Polymath Research and Marketing, which does content and market research. I'm also a marketing instructor at the Century School of Business and Economics at UW-Stevens Point.
Yeah. So today we're going to kick things off by discussing some predictions for 2026 and talking a little bit about what you should be doing in the new year. And to celebrate, in front of us, we have a French 75, which is a classic New Year's Eve cocktail. Of course, it's January when we're recording this, so I'm doing dry January and I'm forcing them to do it with me. So we're doing a zero proof version. We have a zero proof champagne by Lyre's, some local maple syrup, lemon juice, and then a zero proof citrus spirit from Seedlip, which is quite lovely. So cheers to the new year, everybody.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers, you guys. All right, you guys. So let's talk 2026. What do you see coming in 2026? Well, we'll throw it over to the big guy first.
Yeah. So kind of interesting, it's no secret that times are a little bit anxiety-ridden with the economy and everything going around. So I've been doing a lot of research into 2008 for some reason during that recession. And one of the things that I predict a lot of people are going to do is they are going to cut marketing, especially now with the AI. People are going to try to lean into that and go away from traditional avenues.
Sure.
I think that's a terrible idea. The studies show that that is a terrible idea, actually. So one of the stats that really kind of jumped out at me is out of the people that cut their marketing or growth funding, less than 30% actually kind of recovered after the recession ended. Less than 30%. And even then, they were below kind of their market share and value where they were at. On the flip side, we saw the people who doubled down on it have 20% growth over and over and over again. They found that opportunity when everyone decided to go dark, and they took that market share, quite literally.
Okay, but people are going to look at budgets, and they're going to say, we literally can't afford to double down on marketing. So what's the antidote? Yeah,
what I suggest is, it's not like hacking it, but going at it with a scalpel and making sure that instead of cutting ads, your spend that you do have is double down in efforts that are going to make an impact, I suppose. Take a look at your messaging right now. Like, make your brand message during this time reflect consumer anxiety, your audience anxiety. It's not to take advantage of it, but literally, if you are a company, in my opinion, you are doing something that you believe can help your customer, your audience, your client. If you're not, just go out of business because you're a bad person. But with that mindset, what does your audience really need? And focus on that. Address it. Just say, hey, I understand times are tough. This is how we can help.
Okay, kind of high level though. I mean, what does it mean to you?
Looking at optimizing your budgets, more so looking at where your audience is. Where are your consumers? Where are they spending their time? Are they in stores? Are your products in stores? Are your products online? Are you doing direct to consumer from your Instagram account using those shoppable ads? Are you a B2B company using LinkedIn, using ad spend on there? You're not going to want to throw your budget across all of the platforms and just do a one size fits all, because that's not really the way it works, especially in social media. So if you're a company that, say, sells claw clips like I'm wearing right now, you're not going to be advertising on LinkedIn, and you probably really won't be advertising on Facebook that much either, because it's trending more among the younger population. So for me, if I were to see an ad on Instagram, specifically a shoppable ad, because a lot of these platforms have those tools in place for you to utilize your ad spend and optimize it to convert those sales and make it as easy as possible for the consumer to shop immediately from there. Whether it's swiping up on a story, having a link in there, or the shoppable ad button on Instagram on a post. Spending your money in those avenues and really looking at your plan and how to best convert people is going to really help with breaking down your budget and where to spend your money.
First of all, I got to say, I admire how you said claw clips, because I would stumble over that so badly, right?
Claw clips.
But this also sounds like, if these are things you're not doing now as a business, because you just threw a whole year's worth of marketing out at people. If they're not doing some of those things right now, now's the time to say, ooh, I should try that, and I should try that, and I should try that. Then it comes down to picking and choosing, right?
Yeah. And it's fun. It's a good way to kind of play around. If you have like these multiple ways, it's good to play around with these different avenues and kind of figure out what does work best, because what I just kind of spit out could work, but it might not work for your consumers because everyone's demographic is different. Like that does really well on TikTok. It was from a small creator. She was a small business owner, and she just kind of showed the process of her making the claw clips and designing them. And she would sell them on TikTok Shop. She would sell them on Instagram, and she opened her own website and would drive people directly from there because she knew that her demographic was younger and they were on TikTok, they were on Instagram. She didn't waste her time or money on Facebook because she knew that's not where it was going to be. So playing around and figuring out where your audience is, and specifically using analytics, which you can find for free using things like Business Meta Suite or even directly on LinkedIn, although I would say LinkedIn analytics aren't great.
I'd say you're being kind.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
They are horrible. But there's other tools as well, like Buffer. You can use Buffer for free. That's a great platform where you can add your accounts onto, and it'll draw in analytics for you and give an overview for all of the accounts, so you're not having to go in and look at Facebook and then log into Instagram or Business Meta Suite, then log into LinkedIn and look at it, and then log into your TikTok. It's all in one spot, and that really helps with making decisions on ad spend on social media specifically.
So I'm going to pivot this to me because it's all about pivoting to me, right? One of the things I heard you talk about is kind of my prediction for 2026, and that's authenticity and the power of real humans, right? The example you gave, the claw clips, it was a real person going through their process of creating something unique to them, right? And I think everybody's AI filter is getting so finely tuned right now. So I was looking at Super Bowl ads. There are going to be so many Super Bowl ads that are going to be using AI, and people are going to see right through those. They're not going to respond to them. If you get an AI-generated email, you know what it is. AI-generated video, you can see it coming. The watchword of 2025, late 2025, was AI slop. People are getting really attuned to AI slop. I think the power of humans is going to be so impactful that everybody needs to think about, how can I bring myself, that human touch, into what I do?
Yeah. I just read a stat the other day that said when a viewer sees AI and they know it's AI, that 75% of those viewers are completely turned off of that brand forever.
Yeah.
So like it really is. And I also think that when you have the people who own AI are also, you see the headlines, I don't know if you saw this, the guy from OpenAI was like, guys, I think everyone is so negative about AI and it's really affecting our future. I'm like, no, you're struggling because you know that it's kind of worthless. You're trying to hold on to your market share when it's popped already.
Well, go ahead.
And I've also seen a stat from Hootsuite, even in 2024, that on social media specifically, 70% of people, if it's impersonal, like there's not a person on it, they're not being spoken to directly, whether it's video or just a photo post, they're just going to scroll. They're not entertaining that. They're not engaging with that content. And according to Sprout Social in 2024, 60% of brands were faceless, and that's just not something that's going to work moving into 2026.
No, I tell my students, when it comes to AI, all it does is it kind of makes everyone on the same playing field. How are you going to stand above that? You are the secret sauce, right? You're the thing that's going to make your brand yours. AI is not going to do that for you.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell even just playing around with some of it, everyone sounds the same when they're using AI, so there's no differentiator. And we already live in a confusing world, and one with a lot of noise, and like an authentic, real message of how can I help my customers, that's going to cut through it. It's not AI.
Right, yeah, it's not.
AI slop. But
Well, and to pivot to me again, I realized that this year marks my 50th year as being a professional writer. And I have as many clients as I want for writing content. And why? Because AI can't do what I can do. I bring a real voice to whatever client I have, something that AI can't duplicate. They can't do pop culture references. They struggle with varied sentence structure. I could go on and on. They just can't do that stuff. So if you have that unique voice, bring it to the table, bring it out. use some of the tools you talked about. I mean, now's the best time to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going back to humanizing your brand and like having a face to it, specifically moving into video, because you can take photos and have AI write the captions and it's still not as personal. And even now with Sora and all the other
Nano Banana.
yeah, the video AI things, they're pretty obvious. You can still tell. I'm not gonna lie, I was tricked by some when it first came out. We're not gonna talk about that, but Anna, I think that having
Why not? I want to talk about it.
you want to talk about it?
No, I don't, actually.
I think having a specific person or group of people to really represent your brand and your company is really important, because then it's a consistent person that's showing up on people's feeds. They know that you're human, they know that you're real, and just being authentic, like talking freely, saying what you want to say without having a structured script like what AI would do. I think that's really important. Cracking jokes, having some fun, and having back and forth banter, whether it's in the comments, whether it's in DMs, just with people, to have interactions with your brands and know that you are real and they're talking to a real person, because that's really important to people.
Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier that the most powerful thing in building your business has been people talking to other people, real people talking to other people.
Yeah. There's a reason we do a documentary approach, because it helps, like the best way to communicate is through storytelling. And the best way to have someone tell a story is real conversation.
Yeah.
Like that's it. We started a conscious choice to make sure we didn't have actors in our films, and in our projects we'd always make sure that it has some sort of over-the-shoulder documentary, real person there. And the one thing that's really fun about that is also like it's easier these days to make films and video, which lands really, really well because we obviously have our phones. There's a time and place for a really well professional lit storytelling. But if you're trying to show up so you don't go dark during the recession and you want to be authentic, you don't have to worry about the cuts, because right now with how like polished and robotic AI is, those that's human.
Yeah.
And that actually performs a lot better these days.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of backlash toward the overproduced stuff and looking for the bumps and bruises, that people talk about in your videos.
It's like the perfect time to get into it, because you don't have to be so like,
you just have to be human.
You're a human.
Yeah,
but
you
it just
have to
happens
be human.
to be on hopefully millions of screens because you just went viral
Yeah.
for being a human. I do think that it's more of an extension of the authenticity thing. Yeah. But I think that it's really going to filter out, again, those brands, taking it seriously or not. Like, you don't want to be too salesy. Yeah. Because, A, that's not the main reason to exist in a business as far as I'm concerned. But you really have to consider the companies that actually, like, you need to double down on some sort of know who you are, as Madison said, who your audience is, so you can speak to them and you can show up to that. And part of that is having an authentic voice and a real reason to be around. And you need to have a message. You need to have a strategy. You can't just go make videos and hope that it's going to land. Like, I mean, yes, to a degree, it's showing up and being present. But if that is random and there's not a cohesive message behind it or cohesive branding, you're just adding to the confusion. People still aren't going to know who you are. So I think in the response to all of this, if you are serious about growing your business and helping more people through your business, this is just what you have to do.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to work at a couple of businesses where their mission and their vision, their value, it was in their DNA. Every employee knew this is who we are, this is what we do. And it was super easy for them to just kind of go out and live their brand because they didn't know any other way. And if that's not you, if that's not your company, now's the time to stop, take a breath, kind of say, who are we? There are tools that can help with that, right? Who are we? What are we doing here? What are we trying to say? Let's go out and say it.
Yeah. Your values and your mission are your superpower. Like now more than ever, consumers and people are looking to partner, purchase from, and work with brands who share the exact same values and mission as you. And so I know some people might be worried like, well, I might offend a certain group of people if I put that on your sleeve. Do it. You don't want to work with them anyway.
And besides that, the people who are purchasing your products too can then see your values and your mission, and if it really resonates with them, they're more likely to become a loyal customer.
And tell other people, right?
There's nothing more powerful than word of mouth.
Yeah.
So, with that, I think we should give.
Cry.
With that, I think we should maybe give our audience possibly some action items as they gear up for tackling the rest of 2026. I think we should share one thing each that we really recommend to people. I'll start. I think that you should really look at getting into a system like Buffer or other free social media tools and really look at your analytics to help you better drive your strategy.
I think you should look in the mirror, and just assess who you are. If you're not comfortable with who you are as an organization, what you want to be as an organization, and then say, okay, we're here, we want to be here. How do we get there?
Yeah, kind of just building off of that is, I would say, really find out your brand message. Who are you talking to? What does your customers want? Why are you the person to help them overcome those problems? And then take that message and use it everywhere consistently. And then you can grow and build your videos and blogs and emails from there. But we need it sounds like overall we're all talking about make sure we have the information that we can see what's resonating and build a strong foundation in DNA before going too far. Yeah.
Be real, be yourself.
And with that, let's cheers to the first episode of 1000 Proof.
1000 proof, that means 500% alcohol, right?
To see some of the bottles we
What
have.
can we say? Strong marketers.
Strong marketers.
Marketers.